There is an ideology that people are not responsible for their actions, depending on their victimhood status. It helped start the rise of a violent culture in which the concept of free will went out the window. People considered victims were not to be held accountable for their actions. They were only to be pandered to and treated like children under the protective wing of the woke. Only the woke knew better who were the ones to be blamed and who were the ones that needed their pandering. Excuses were made for violence. Those considered victims were not accountable when and if they were violent. No matter how much violence escalated, the woke had an excuse, justification, or a deflection as to why. What they never had was accountability. When people cease to be accountable and responsible for their actions, societies deteriorate. Violence, chaos, terror reign. Thousands of years ago, human beings developed moral codes, rules, and laws to live by. There was the belief that those that violated these laws were responsible for their actions, but no more. Wokeness dictates that there's no longer free will. There are only victims and oppressors, and whatever victims do, no matter how evil, violent, cruel, and harmful it might be, there are only the oppressors to blame. Wokeness dictates that there's no longer good and evil when it comes to those considered victims. Only those considered oppressors can be considered evil in their minds. Victims must be treated like little children to them, devoid of free will. They are not responsible for what they do. When people are not responsible for their actions, when excuses, deflections, justifications, and blaming replace accountability, terrible things result. On October 7th, people made the choice to rape, kidnap, mutilate, torture, behead, burn people alive, murder. The woke crowd has been quick to defend, deflect, excuse, and justify the actions of those that raped, kidnapped, beheaded, burned alive, mutilated, and murdered. But no amount of deflection, no amount of excuses, including excuses such as historical context or things do not happen in a vacuum, erases the fact that people made the choice to rape, kidnap, mutilate, and murder on October 7th. They did these terrible things and they started a war. Contrary to what the woke crowd thinks and believes, free will still exists. People make choices to commit acts of evil or to do good. Raping, kidnapping, murdering, mutilating, torturing, beheading, burning people alive are acts of evil, and no amounts of pontificating or anything else erases that fact.